Thank you, Chair. And like my colleague has just said, thank you for granting me the time to express voices on behalf of the residents at St Michael's Gate. With request to the call-in, I feel that the decision does not follow the principle of good decision-making set out in Article 11 of the Council's Constitution. Therefore, acting proper purpose and in the interest of the public, and this committee will follow those parts of the Council Procedure Rules set out in Part 4 of the Constitution as applied to you. Will this committee and its decisions be in accordance with the requirements contained in the European Convention of Human Rights? Realistically, consider all alternatives where reasonable, consider the views of the public, and would this committee consider an alternative that would consider an outright purchase from or for the duration period of the proposed deal between Stephen Phillips and Peterborough City Council, that Peterborough City Council continue to pay Stephen Phillips the agreed amount minus the rental charges, which will continue to pay as part of the purchase agreement. At the end of the initial contract, Peterborough City Council can either pay the balance on the values of the property remaining, and by doing this allowing the Peterborough City Council to enter another agreement to make the final settlements to complete a more sustainable purchase, which would allow the tenants to remain adequately home with a rent-to-buy scheme with the Peterborough City Council. Point C. To take account of all the relevant matters both in general and specific and ignore relevant matters, what measures have this council got in place to address the homeless issue, and can this committee ensure a more strategic approach to tackling and preventing homelessness more effectively with other external agencies? And I won't list them, but there is a catalogue of them, ranging from mental health, adult care, domestic abuse, shelter, children's service and even gingerbread. When looking at a proposed deal that will no doubt have an impact on some of the families potentially being evicted, will you be, or Stephen Phillips, looking at offering some form of remuneration back to these families who are facing eviction to help meet the costs pending reallocation, transport to and from work, and also putting in provisions to order families to sustain support care for their children? Peterborough City Council could take a more proactive solution and eliminate the concern of other boroughs, and I quote, homelessness being dispersed in Peterborough, avoid an embarrassing climb down on the current situation of homelessness, on the increase in the city, and protect the residents in their homes at St Michael's Gate. D. Act for the purpose, the proper purpose and interest of the public. What is the actual amount of the funds being saved? If there are any savings to be made, why hasn't Peterborough City Council, on a proposed agreement, used this towards a long-term infrastructure with a real solution to easing the homelessness? Enabling the council to have the means to buy homes on the current market rather than private landlords doing precisely this very crude proposal by coming to this council to fund Stephen Phillips's own greed. H. Be responsible for the decisions and be prepared to give the reasons for them. As with any proposal, there has to be a time to debate any likely outcome, the practicality of it, and the effectiveness of it. Sadly, the residents at St Michael's Gate are looking at a potential eviction by 31st of October, and I believe it's imperative, at least this committee, to negotiate a freeze on tenant evictions with Stephen Phillips whilst all options are considered, including your own plan, and to manage more effective outcomes for St Michael's Gate's residents. We have the opportunity before us to get a working model that will benefit everyone involved and protect the residents of St Michael's Gate and people in the future from what is currently happening at St Michael's Gate. How does making 74 families homeless who are tenants the answer to solving homeless people who are accommodated in bed and breakfasts around the city of Peterborough? And finally, Theresa May, the Prime Minister, states that this will be a Britain that works for everyone. It is clear that the proposed deal between Stephen Phillips and the Peterborough City Council is not a Britain that works for everyone, and in fact it falls short of that standard. I appeal to your compassion. We all could be in a similar situation. These residents and their families, some with complex health needs, are facing being evicted by no fault of their own, and why should Stephen Phillips hold money-making as their interest with no regard to concerns or the suffering of their misfortunes? Thank you.